love that.
And we're on Inspiration. Hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on the podcast. Both Ryan Boniface and Jose Noya with me. How are we doing both?
Brilliant. Lovely.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good to be back.
Excellent. And a whole live studio audience, we'll call them, on TikTok with us as well. Jose Noya, Inspiration. Just look for him on TikTok or stick him in your Google machine. Follow on TikTok or in fact YouTube, and we stream live each and every week. If you follow and subscribe, you'll get notified when we go live, and you can get involved like lots of people are right now. We have a like goal in there as well on TikTok. We're going for 5k likes, and if we get it, Jose will be singing us out at the end of the podcast. Right, so Ryan, after 23 weeks of not being here, it's your turn for a subject. So what have you got?
I think it's been like 2 weeks.
23 right? Weeks. Yeah,
I know,
exaggeration.
I'm just enjoying the shoe being on the other foot for once.
Maybe 3 weeks. So maybe it's 2 to 3 weeks rather than 23. I actually, for those of you that weren't on TikTok beforehand, told these two off because in the time I wasn't here, we actually went past our 6th anniversary releasing podcasts. We hit episode 312, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that is 52 times 6. So that would make it our 6-year anniversary. And I kind of want to, we do a lot. Well, I say we do a lot. I do most of my reflections on my life on this podcast. I don't tend to do a lot of looking back down the mountain in my own time, which is probably a bad thing. I probably should be a bit better than that. But yeah, I wanted for us to go through what the last year had been like. We used to do every 3 months or so. I can't remember what Lee used to call them. He would call them a winging it episode, but it was more kind of a
journey updates.
An update. Journey updates. That's it. We kind of stopped doing them as regularly as we used to, probably because our journey was expanding and we had much better things to talk about than ourselves. But it'd be good. I think it'd be good to touch on kind of what the last 12 months has been like from a podcast perspective, from our perspectives, anything that we've learned either from us, from each other, or ourselves, or where we got from anywhere else, or we can call it a journey update if you like, or we can just talk it through. I mean, I know that these episodes are live on YouTube, and Joe posts a lot of shorts on YouTube and things like that. But I was actually surprised to see that we'd had 60,000 views in the last 90 days last week or something, wasn't it? Which I think is a lot of people. I grew up in an era where YouTube was a big thing, and a lot of people would get 60,000 views in one day or half a day or whatever. But everybody has to start somewhere, right? And I can't remember what the phrase is. We've spoken about it before, but the aggregation of small changes leads to bigger change. I can't remember what the actual phrasing is. A more learned colleague probably remember, but those small steps that we're taking, those 1% or those 0.1% every week, every day, or whatever, is slowly pushing us towards more people listening to more of our podcasts and hopefully learning more from us and from themselves around their lives and how they can influence themselves, others around them, personally, professionally. We don't tend to do romantically on this podcast, and I can understand why, looking at the three of us. But although 2 of them are married, so but I think we do a good job of holding ourselves to account and rewarding ourselves when we've done well on this podcast, and perhaps being quite reflective when we haven't done things so well. And I think it'd be a good opportunity to talk that kind of stuff kind of through from what we felt like the last year's been like, really. And in typical Joe fashion, have you got any thoughts?
Brilliant.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Ryan, what your thoughts were on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I'm sure you would. End of someone else's blurb, Jose.
Yeah, I did, because I'm really intrigued what Ryan's thinking over the last. You're saying 6 months? Is that what you were talking about the review?
Well, I said yeah. I mean,
the last year is good. We haven't done it for a while, have we? That's
yeah.
I think so. Good year.
5th anniversary.
I think when people
6th anniversary.
Yeah, I know in my mind that whenever I reflect over a period of time, I only ever try and find the positives. I don't tend to reflect neutrally. I always try and look back positively, so to speak, which I think is what people should do. But it's not always as easy as that. I'm sure some people will reflect and think, oh, should have done that better, and that opportunity I should have been better with. And yeah, sure, you know what? But life goes on. You're still here, you're still fighting. And what was it the subject was the other week? I was reading them earlier. Was it mistakes mean you're doing something? So if you have missed an opportunity, or you haven't quite done it right, or you've missed the boat on something, or you think in the last year, oh, I should have done that better. It means the fact that you are in the opportunity to make that mistake means you're doing the right things and having those opportunities in the first place, right? So there's always a positive spin to try and turn on these things.
I heard someone say the other day, they said, I'd much rather regret the things I've done than the things I haven't done, which is exactly the same.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I just think it's really well phrased.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I think it's the 21st century version of that phrase.
The quotes are dropping like bombs right now. It's fantastic. I love that.
You know what? I was on a call with an external earlier, and they said something that I'd never thought about, but is actually probably quite true. Near enough every statistic is made up on the spot. Generally, whenever somebody tells you a stat, unless it's one of those really well-known stats, typically people will go, "Oh, I think 90% of the time that's right." That's all. That's never based on anything. It's always made up. But I've never broken that down.
I'd say at least 70% of stats are made up on the spot.
There he goes. There's another one.
Wow, I love this.
But I'd never thought about things like that before. But I do it all the time. If you have a conversation with me, kind of one-to-one, I always talk about typically this would happen or that would happen, and I've never seen it not happen. But there's such big words, big meaning words to say, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm going off the beaten track now, but yeah.
So I wanted to add something. Can I add something? Lee, initially you want to go first?
You go.
Lee is concentrating on something. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, Lee?
He said you go.
Do you want me to go? Lee, do you want to add?
This is turning into terrible podcast airtime right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. You're really. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with your feed there, Lee. Anyway, so I wanted to sort of just talk about something that I prepped. You know, I do a little bit of prepping sometimes about the sort of stuff we're going to talk about. And I think this process fits with this nicely, what you were saying about the journey. Because over the last year, I think, definitely with the shorts, and you said like 60,000 live in 90 days. Well, I've tracked this over 365 days, and there's definitely traction upwards. It's tracking upwards over 365 now. It's like it's doing this a lot, like the heartbeat, but it's tracking upwards. So views going up, TikTok's going up. There's definitely something happening, and there's a process I want to sort of quote, and it's from James Clear's email, which is great, and I just want to just read it out because I think it's quite apt about what this podcast is about, and also what I do on my lives when I go for my walks every day on TikTok. And it's this, the process is called. I know Lee's keen on the process, and there was one called the process. I think at some point we talked about the process. Anyway, this is what it is. And there's 4 points to this. So number one is decide what you want to achieve. Number two, try different ways of achieving it until you find one that works for you. 3, do more of what works, do less of what doesn't. And number 4, don't stop doing it until it stops working. And that's exactly where I'm sitting with the TikTok videos right now and the shorts I'm posting every day. I'm posting 5 videos a day on YouTube on shorts, and it's really working very well right now. It goes through this whole period like stocks. It goes up and then it comes down. So over the last, I would say, I don't know since I've been doing it, I've probably doing it since we're going live on TikTok. So probably 8-9 months. So I want to keep doing that last bit. Don't stop doing it until it stops working. So that's my pledge. So what I've noticed is that for me, it's our consistency as well. We have still turned up every single week, irrespective of who joins the live. We don't really care. We're just going to do this and keep by that mantra that we're helping one person. I just want to share with you as well. On YouTube, there's a person who was really struggling, and I'm asking questions of people now, like on the community. So the community's starting to build, and there's a couple of comments coming through on YouTube. So I'm starting to respond to them. Some of them are very negative. Some of them are like reaching out for help, but it's really nice to see that there's interaction. But there's some people really struggling out there. And as we said before, this podcast to give people a little bit of light. And I think that's what we're doing. I think we're giving people that ray of hope that we struggle, we share our struggles, we share our successes, but we also share our struggles, that we're not perfect. And that helps other people pull through the difficult times too. And I think that's where I think we've had our good wins. So I'm really proud of that we're doing it. And we keep doing it for 6 years. We've done this now, 6 years straight. We've gone through a pandemic. We've done that. We did it before. We did it through. We've got the war going on in Europe. We've got, Trump going on. So there's a lot going on. But we've done the podcast no matter what's happened in the world. And I think this is a great way of reflecting and thinking what has happened and what we're going to do and how we're going to keep moving forward. And no matter what happens, we keep turning up doing this podcast. But that's my reflection over last year. I'm really impressed on our consistency. That's, for me, it's one of the biggest things for me. And it's those 4 steps which I think, for me, are really powerful. There you go. That's my bit. Over to you, too.
I'll give you, because I've not spoken much, have I? No, there's something you said, actually. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I've mentioned him before on the podcast, and you've referenced it since. A guy called Diamond Dallas Page, DDP, runs DDP Yoga, does lots of stuff helping people out. And he was talking about what he does and how he's building this community, and it's just 1 person and 2 people and 3 people. And he loves to see everyone helping everyone out in the community. And it made me think of this and what you're doing with it and how it's growing, and just doing it for the right reasons, which isn't like fame or glory or money or anything. It's genuinely hand on heart trying to build a community. And I think, looking back on the year, I think we'd do this for years where we'd go live and we wouldn't get a lick of interest from anyone on here. You'd get the odd like or whatever else. And look at it now, it's a buzzing community every single week. And I think this last 12 months, that has picked up massively. The same with the views numbers, there's still way to go and where we want to go. But from when we started, it was literally, and we had the actual conversation, Joe, didn't we? Where we said, if we just reach 1 person and, multiples and multiples and multiples of that now. And again, that's really grown again in the last year, which has been fantastic. For me, as you said, this has gone from a podcast to inform to one to inspire, that's actually become like my development journey, our collective ones. I absolutely don't think I would think the way I think if we weren't doing this every single week. It's like a coaching session, and it's a huge part of my makeup and how I think and how I deal with things and everything like that. And again, the last 12 months has added to it. And just talking personally, the last 12 months has been a whirlwind. So in 12 months, I've moved house, I've got a new job, I found my love for carpentry. I'm midway through my 2nd big project about that now. Also decorated, personally, 2 rooms in the house as well that we moved into. So it's crammed a lot into a year, it feels like, actually. But in some ways it feels shorter than that. In some ways it feels longer than that. But this each week is like one of those anchor points in between that just it's all little short, little bite-sized bits of life that all kind of amalgamate up into this massive journey.
Yeah. I like that, because it's like where we can pause because life gets very full, doesn't it? It's time to stop, pause, reflect, and think, what are we actually doing? And I just want to give a shout out to Frizzle, because Frizzle is on the TikTok live, heading for 5k likes. Frizzle's on a solo journey on TikTok, literally 4k likes. That's all Frizzle right now in the TikTok. I mean, I'm so impressed. Thanks, Frizzle. I'll give you a shout out, because you just only deserve that. So yeah, I'm loving that. So yeah, I think that's a fair thing. Go on, Brian.
I don't treat I'm so used to Teams calls and Zoom calls at work, which, typical office life. But I don't treat our conversations every week as doing a podcast. I generally treat it as going to have a chat with my 2 mates, and it's going to be about something that I have to come up with, or one of you two will come up with, and we make a conversation out of it. We just talk like normal people that have life experience in multiple different things, and we just try and pitch that over. You two are obviously more life experience than I am. I'll take the obvious away, because that's probably a little bit harsh, but you know what I mean. You two have had more life experience than I have, and we've spoken before about how when I started, I wasn't even on the camera. I just recorded it, edited it, and posted it, and then I started getting involved. And then I think about a year into doing it, I got a promotion to one of the jobs I do now. And it's just been a conversation for me about, it is, as Lee says, kind of a coaching session with ourselves. And it doesn't even feel like that. It doesn't even feel like we're here to talk about a specific thing that I'm having problems with or you're having problems with. We just talk. We just talk. I don't go out of my way generally to find a quote. Not generally. I tend to hope and think I see something in each week. Some of the best quotes have come from when I've been listening to the radio, driving to Lee's house back in the early days, or I'm on TikTok and I'm scrolling and something pops up, or I'm watching TV and something comes on. You know, I try and take things that actually happen to me week on week. And as you said, Joe, we've been through 6 years of doing this. And we're all massively different people than where we were 6 years ago. So much has changed for all of us. Some good, some not so good. But I think, as Lee said, I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't think the way I do, and I wouldn't try and be the person that I am if it wasn't for the conversations that we have as a three, trying to make ourselves better by making the people around us better. So that's all we do this for. As Lee said, we did it first of all to inform, and then it kind of matured into a podcast to help people grow in themselves. And we know that you know, the world over, not everybody in the world is listening to us, and that's absolutely fine. But the people that do listen to us, we just hope they take something away each week, or one new person comes along and picks something up and says, you know what, I'll come back to them. Every week, that's all we ask for. And I think we do a really good job of that. I think we should be proud of ourselves and the work that we do. And that I often think there aren't any subjects left to talk about, and then you two will pull something out that is something that we've spoken about years ago, and we have a really good conversation about it. I just think we I don't want the whole episode to be kind of soppy and thankful for ourselves, but I think we should be pleased with the fact that 6 years is a long commitment. Other than a job and a relationship, what else do you have for 6 years? And friends and family. So outside of that kind of thing, what else do you really have for 6 years? Especially these days, sometimes you won't keep a car for that long. You won't keep a mobile phone for that long. You won't keep a laptop for that long. You won't keep a tablet for that long. Your glasses, the three of us wear glasses. We'll probably have those replaced in the next 6 years. But we're still here as stalwarts every week, trying to have a conversation with each other and inspiring people that listen, or self-developing ourselves. And I think we do a really good job of that. Even if we're the only people that ever hear it, I think we do a good job of that for ourselves.
We absolutely do. It's one of, quietly, because I don't think of it in that way, but it's true. It's one of the most important parts of my life in terms of how it shaped me, what I am and what I do. And it's just kind of eeped its way into being just an every day and every week kind of behaviour that, like you said, I just do almost without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it is for us, and I think that's because of the message. So I said we want to inspire, but yeah, we're well beyond the point of no one else hearing the message now. There's people at work I know who come up to me and talk to me about episodes of the podcast. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've had it before. I've joined a meeting before with people I've never met, and they've gone, "Oh, you do that podcast?" And I go, "Oh, yeah, I do. That is me." Yeah.
So that we never envisaged that, had we? When we started, we thought, well, yeah, one person.
Well, because I don't think we thought anybody would ever see it. I think we thought we would just put it out there, and people that did see it, they would never know us because we're just three people. But funnily enough, people get shown things. People get pushed videos on social media that are logistically, physically, and socially close to them.
Yeah.
You got approached that time in a coffee shop, didn't you, Joe? Round the corner from your house, going, "Oh, are you Joe Noya?"
Yeah, that was crazy. And there's a whole concept about coaching that whole time, having breakfast, and it happened. It was just an amazing experience. And in fact, I just had that Meg has just said that one of their friends, Casey, actually listened to the podcast and says, "Do you know what, your dad and that podcast, like Lee and Ryan, they drop some nuggets. They do. They really, because they're listening for a bit of a laugh, and then they go, do you actually? I really enjoy that. So they're a fan. So we are spreading out there. So it's fantastic, So this is what it's about. It's about those small increments, like I said, gradually it's a long game, it's a long marathon, but I don't ever see this ever ending. It's forever. And I'm
The
agree. I've changed
aggregation
a
of
lot.
marginal gains. That was it.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I love that. No, it's great. It's true though, isn't it? It's true. And every podcast is an opportunity for someone to listen. And that's again, I think we're coming 4 minutes. So I want to just ask quickly. Oh, Ryan's in there looking liking. Oh, it's 5K. Woohoo! We're 5K likes. Just wanted to celebrate that.
Cool.
Fizzle's in there.
We're
Well
about
done.
4 minutes left
Fantastic.
on our countdown, so get your points in.
Oh, the point is, I just wanted to say to someone now we've done well. Thank you so much, Ryan, for putting this out there, because I think this is an important thing people need to do is review the last year of your life, or maybe 6 months, and see what have you done, what have been your milestones, and what are you going to do. Are you getting closer to what you want to do, or you're further away? What do you need to do to change, or what's gone well? All those lovely questions. I just wanted to say, what's a step that everyone's going to take as a result of listening to this podcast, and not just listen, actually do something about it. So that's really important. Yeah.
I think the most important thing about reflecting on the last year or the last 6 months is to think about what the next year or 6 months is actually going to look like.
Yeah.
It's all well and good looking back down that mountain and saying, "I could have done better with that," or "That went really well." What's next? We live in a world where phases and fads come and go, and things are popular for a while and not. And that's the same with life goals, right? Maybe professionally, maybe personally, you achieve something, but then what? What's next? We've spoken about the mentality of sporting greats and things like that always think, what's next, what more? And there is obviously, there should always be time to take a breather and make sure you're refreshed and ready to go, but you can't take your foot too much off of the pedal, otherwise it won't be on it at all. So you've got to make sure you keep planning forward and looking forward and things like that.
I just counted up in my head, and I think currently for what is the next year, I've got 3 professional goals, 2 personal was the right goal. We'll say, and another 3 project goals under different guises.
Wow,
I'm working on.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's great though.
I'm pretty sure I'll do them all. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, good.
And let us know if we can help.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely. That's what we're for. That's what we're here for. Definitely, you do.
See, I don't think like that. I don't feel like I have goals. I just, something that comes to me, I just try and do the best I can with it. Maybe that's something that I need to learn.
And I don't necessarily listed them out, but as I've thought through it, I'm like, this is what I do. So I do like in my head, but you're working towards it.
You're aware of them, right? I wouldn't say that I'm oblivious to things that go on around me, but I wouldn't say I want to have that done by then. And maybe I should be a bit more like that, or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know.
We're like that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good bit of self-reflection for you.
Okay. Right.
But, yeah.
1.5 minutes. Wrapping us up. Everyone, love all the support. At listen to blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean. It's on Twitter. You can find us. Not even called Twitter now. Jose Noya, Inspirational. That's the thing to look for. Sorry, didn't want to cut you off there, Ryan. I just want to get that in before we had to go out. This was a great reflection, and I appreciate you pulling us up.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, as my takeaway, we won't have the time to do all 3 of them, but I think what I touched on about thinking forward and the past is the past. What can you do about your future is a lot more than what you can do about your past. So hopefully the 3 of you will agree with me that it's should be making sure that whilst we look back down the mountain, we focus forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And like you said, won't get more on.
Same.
We'll close it there. 3 to 1. Inspirational. Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later. Okay, you guys are going to disappear in a minute, aren't you? So that's all right.
Just to say quickly, on the latest summary that AI